All right, we are live. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Blunt and Bossy. I'm your host, Sarah McRae, hashtag the Solar Boss. And today I have a special guest with me, my friend Brittany Smith. Brittany, welcome.
Hello, thank you for having me, Sarah.
Yes, yes. So, real quick, I just want to kind of tell people a little bit about what you do, how I know you. Brittany Smith is actually the wife of one of my solar partners that I work with, Brian Smith. And I love how the universe works, how it brings people together. I genuinely consider you and your husband like good friends of mine. I love how he has also brought you into my life, and the story and the information that you have to share tonight is going to be so good. So Brittany is a rapid transformational therapist. Did I say that correctly?
You did, absolutely.
Okay. And I know I actually just learned about this not too long ago myself, but I know there's a lot of people that have no clue what that is. So let us in on it. Tell everyone what it is that you actually do.
Okay, so rapid transformational therapy is actually it's a mix of different therapies. So you have like NLP, you have cognitive behavioral therapy, you have psychotherapy, you have talk therapy, and so, you have hypnotherapy. And RTT, rapid transformational therapy, is a mix of all of those things together. The primary outlet is hypnotherapy, and then we use those techniques from the other therapies while the client is under hypnosis. And the most incredible thing is that while you're under hypnosis, you have total 100% control of how you respond and what's going on. So um, nothing can go wrong because you are 100% in control. And so what we would actually do is I would hypnotize you, and take you back to memories. So let's say you're afraid of the dark, for instance. And you don't want to be afraid of, you're 35, you don't want to be afraid of the dark anymore. So I would hypnotize you, take you back to the memories of when you were a child and how you became afraid of the dark. And then we would kind of recode and rewrite that memory into, hey, I'm 35. I'm not 5 anymore. I don't have to be afraid of the dark anymore. So we're just kind of changing the definition of whatever it was that caused you to be fearful of the dark in the first place. And basically, kind of the concept there is that your mind, your subconscious mind, does not know time. So if you're afraid of the dark when you're 5, you're still afraid of the dark at 35 because your subconscious knows no time, and it doesn't know to stop thinking that way until you figure it out and correct it yourself.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, I catch myself sometimes. I'm like, you are a 38-year-old woman. Why are you letting these things still bother you? But it is. I think people forget a lot of times that, we all in some way, shape, or form have experienced things that have hurt us or have broke us, or we feel it had broke us. But there are ways to heal from that with, different types of therapies. Like you mentioned, like you just mentioned a bunch of different types. So I've actually had the honor of doing a rapid transformational therapy session before. Now, I will say this, I wasn't consistent with it. And it wasn't with you. I wish I would have had you as my therapist. But what's really neat about it is it is, something that it's broken down into like smaller session, right? Correct. So you have one initial session with you, correct? And then you have a recording, right? It kind of explains to them how this works, because it's really neat. So it's actually, whenever I did mine, I did it virtually, and I actually like that because it gave me the ability to be in my own home, in my comfortable place. I have a hard time being vulnerable. It is not not easy for me. So I like that I was able to kind of be in my own bed, in my own comfort zone, and relaxed, and I could just bawl my eyes out if I needed to. It was great. So tell them how it works. Explain to them the whole, like, it's great.
Okay, so It is great because I can come see you, you can come to my office and see me, or we can do it virtually like this. It's really simple. We do the hypnosis session, we do the regression, then we do the transformation part, and that's where we recode, rewrite those memories, and make it what you want it to be today. Then, at the conclusion of the session, which usually lasts about an hour and a half, sometimes 2 hours, depends on how deep we go. I mean, because you can uncover things in an RTT session that it takes 20 years in talk therapy to uncover. So and this is in one session. And I'm not saying one session cures, I'm not saying RTT cures anything, but it definitely uncovers. And once you know, then you can change and fix.
Mhm.
But so at the end of the session, I would send you a recording. The recording is the most important part because while we did an awful lot of work while you were under hypnosis, if you don't listen to the recording, you're not forming a habit. Your mind, if you're 35 and you've been afraid of the dark since you were 5 years old, that is an intrinsically built deep habit.
Mhm.
Okay, it is a belief that is like core deep. So you need to listen to your transformation every day, at least one time a day for 21 days to set that habit. So your subconscious goes, oh yeah, we're doing this now. Oh yeah, it's not that we're not afraid of the dark anymore. Or,
Mhm.
I don't need to eat chocolate all the time anymore. Or, just whatever it might be that comes up. I worked with a lady last spring who suffered from severe allergies. And today she barely has any issues at all. And that was like
Wow.
7 months ago. Yeah. But
That's awesome.
she listens to her recording even now, still sometimes if she feels a nasal drip coming,
Mhm.
she'll go sit down and listen to her recording.
Yeah, it's
Um,
so yeah, like it's so much that goes on in our minds that could make us or break us sometimes,
yes,
the thoughts that, all of these, but it also goes the other way too. So, you know, we were also
that's right.
talking about your last year and, what all you've experienced. That's really where you've used your own practices and your own ways to, make this year a big transition for you and your career. Kind of talk
Yeah.
about that a little bit.
Okay, so this year has been, or 2020, it's not this year anymore. I guess it's now 21, but 2020, like I almost felt guilty at times because everybody's like, oh, 2020 is so terrible. 2020 is so bad. All this is happening in 2020. And I'm over here like, man, I'm thriving. I'm flourishing. What are you
Mhm.
wasting time for? Like,
Mhm.
I don't understand. And I get it. I understand some
Mhm.
people got sick. A lot of people lost family members. And I've been fortunate enough not to be one of those people.
Mhm.
But when we got quarantined last spring, I was a school teacher. So I left in March on spring break thinking, I'm going to see these kids in a week, you
Right.
know? And then we get told, hey, you're not coming back for 2 weeks. And then we get told, hey, you're not coming back. So it was left open. Like we never really we did online stuff with them, but it was never like an end of the year kind of thing. And you build relationship with kids when you're teaching them. So
Yeah.
that part was hard. But through quarantine, I didn't sit still, man, going, oh, this is terrible. Oh, I hate being home all the time. Like I turned it around and I was like, hey, I have been asking. I had just started taking my RTT course in January. So I was like, I've been saying if I just had an extra week off, I could get this done. If I just had this time, I
Mhm.
could get this done. And we do that. We as humans, we say things like that all the time. If I just had one more hour in the day, I could get this done. Well, quarantine opened that up for me and I had
Lots of
that
hours a
extra
day. Yeah.
time, you
Yep.
know. And so I was able to get my course done within 6 months. I was a certified therapist because I worked my tail off all day. All day I was doing stuff. I was seeing
Mhm.
clients 3 months into the course practicing. Um, And then I started my business, through all of this, I started my business, which is Soulstice by Brittany Smith. And Soulstice specifically, I don't spell it like the summer solstice, but it means the same thing. I spell it though Soul because it's your soul that's changing.
Love it. Beautiful.
Solstice. Okay. So, anyways, I built my business, and I went back to work in the fall, and I was miserable. I was like, man, why didn't I just resign then when I had, I had this business going, everything's going great. And now school's really slowing me down because I had to learn all these new platforms with everything being online
Yes.
and in the classroom. And so it was different. Well, at the same time, my husband's family's going, hey, we want to do all these things. We want to incorporate your business and this business we want to start and this and that and blah, blah, blah. So we started looking at moving from Florida to Alabama so that we could do that. Well, we were visiting back at the beginning of October, and I was on Indeed just looking, not anything serious, just looking. And all of a sudden, up pops this position that says magazine writer could potentially move to managing editor quickly. And I was like, hold on now. What's this about? So I click on it and I'm reading it and I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God. Holy crap. And Brian, my husband, and the family, they're all like, what's going on? And I'm like, well, I'm qualified for this job, like super qualified for this job. I'm going to be a magazine editor.
Love it.
And so I applied for it. And then I think that was on like a Thursday. And then on Monday morning, I turned around and I called because I wanted to verify that the managing editor got my resume. And really, I was just I know how many resumes come in for jobs like that. And so I was like, if she hears my name, it's going to make her stop and go to my resume.
Right.
And she did. And I got a phone interview, and I felt like, and I might be saying this out of turn, but I felt like she wanted to hire me right there on the spot, but she had to talk to the president of the company first. And I knew that, and I understood that. So, but the phone interview was like an hour and a half long. It was really good. It was like I had known her my whole life. And so then she calls me on Thursday evening, and she's like, hey, can you be here in the morning? And I'm like, oh crap.
Wow.
I'm like, I live 5 hours away. I'm supposed to work tomorrow. And I wrote her back without even thinking about it. Yes, I can.
Oh, I love it.
And so I I went to my boss and I said, hey, I have a lot of respect for you, and I just want to let you know what's going on. And I said, maybe nothing comes of it, but I'm certain that I'm going to have the job. And she told me, she said, well, they would be foolish not to hire you. And so, yeah, just, okay, that's fine. Go ahead to the interview. I was like, okay. So, which, I mean, I was going to anyways, but I did. And I was hired that day on the spot. And, so now I'm a rapid transformational therapist, and I'm, an editor for a magazine here at Lake Martin. And man, it's like I'm living the dream,
That's
and it's
so awesome. Well, you have, something that, it sparks your creative side with the the editing job. And then you also are healing people with these, sessions. That's beautiful.
exactly.
Like, that's some beautiful stuff to bring into 2021. So we were talking about what actually led you into rapid transformational therapy. Like what got you into that? What sparked your interest in getting into that?
I was going through a really difficult time and just kind of, looking for guidance, needing something. had never heard of RTT, didn't know who Marissa Pierce, she's the founder of the program, had no idea who she was. I was writing one day and kind of half listening to YouTube in the background, and Marissa Pierce pops on and she says this, and I'm just kind of here, and I'm like, this, who is this? And then she said something that caught my mind about putting a big juicy, like imagining that you're holding a big juicy lemon, close your eyes, take a big bite out of it, swish it around in your mouth. And then she's like, okay, what happens? And everybody's like, well, my mouth started watering. It was just like I was eating it, you know? And she's like, exactly. That's because your mind does what it believes you want it to do. So if you are imagining that you have a big, juicy, sweet lemon and you're eating it and you want to enjoy it, your mind's already there supporting you, going, heck yeah, let's do this, right? And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. So then I do the hypnosis there, like the session with her. And this is a YouTube video. Okay. So it's not like we're having a conversation. She's asking the questions and I'm answering them in my mind, but I'm cognizant, right? Like I told you, you're 100% aware of what's going on and you can control it. And so I'm like, I got to the point where by the end of the hypnosis session, I understood my issues around men in authority positions and why I had issues with men and money. Okay. So like
just through a YouTube video, right?
That's just crazy. Through one YouTube video, I knew the answer to both of those questions. And I was like, holy crap. And the great thing is that when you know what's causing something, then you can stop it, right? So when I start seeing or recognize I'm feeling this way again, then I can say, whoa, I want to redirect that thought process. That's not true. I don't want to think that. I want to think this. So I'm stopping the momentum of this negative thought, and I'm giving this positive thought forward momentum.
Yes.
Right?
I gotta stop you. I have a story. You just triggered a story. Okay. So I read this book. I was going through some serious depression and I was really having a hard time connecting with people again. Like I was social anxiety was really high. And I started reading this book that was called Love Yourself as though, oh my gosh, what is the name of the book? Love Yourself. I can't remember, but anyway, what it actually teaches you is this mantra that anytime you start having negative thoughts, to start saying, I love myself. I love myself. I love myself. And as weird as it is, just anytime you start having negative thoughts, just start saying this little mantra to yourself, as weird as it feels. And so I was actually in the airport while I'm reading this book, and I get to the first time where he's talking about this practice. And I realized that, like, even though I was just in this really, really dark place in my own head, I started doing this little practice in my head. And I started saying, I love myself. I love myself. I love myself. And within just like 3 minutes, someone comes and taps me on my shoulder and they say, I just wanted to tell you, you have the most beautiful eyes ever. And I was just like, what the heck? It was so weird because I wasn't inviting, I really still wasn't putting off this, like, come talk to me, I'm a happy person. I was very kind of closed off into myself, but like the energy just behind what I was doing in my own mind, like, and it started happening, like little things like that just really make a huge difference in your mindset. Just crazy. Okay, so
that's so awesome.
That's why I had to share that. I just thought it was really neat how little practices like that, and with the rapid transformational therapy, that's something that, like, I think it's really important that people know that it's available to them from home during, a lot of people just, they're trying to figure out why they're not feeling good, what's going, like, especially during the winter time, and having that they could, turn to as a, something to help them, themselves. It's really neat.
And it's everything, Sarah. It's not, I know I referenced being afraid of the dark, and I referenced like weight, but it's everything. Literally, you could come to me and say, I don't like the color purple. And I could work with you on that. And before you know it, you're going to like all the color. Like there's a kid, okay, who didn't eat things that were yellow.
Uh-huh.
And his mom, I mean, nothing. He wouldn't eat anything that was yellow. And so his mom had an issue with this because I guess, I don't know, they ate a lot of stuff that was yellow, I guess.
Yeah.
But so that was something that we worked on. We went in, we discovered why he didn't like things that were yellow, and it went back to something that like a negative thing that happened to him when he was just 2 years old. And
Wow.
so we kind of rewrote it. And then what I told his mom to do, I said, once the session is over, he needs to listen to his recording.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of times those recordings end up being like that self-love, like you are confident, you're beautiful. And it's your mind learns by repetition. So it's
Yeah.
just hearing it over and over again, right? But I told his mom, I said, so now what you're going to do is every day introduce a new yellow food to him.
Mm-hmm.
And within 10 days, by day 10, he will not only like that food, he will be requesting that food.
Mm-hmm.
And that was something that I kind of,